Continue with the Bryte sewing kit. I'm going to show you how to sew on a few more pieces, and then next week we'll finish it off. So now I'm going to sew on another piece of her hair. I'm going to pin it down, line up the holes, and I'm pinning it down so that it doesn't move as I'm sewing. I'm going to get my embroidery floss and my needle. Now remember, you only need about 3 pieces of embroidery floss, so you're going to separate 3 of those strands and then thread your needle. And if you want to remember how to do this, there's a previous video that shows you. Tie a knot and begin sewing. Now, if you run into this problem where your knot is not big enough, you're going to make that knot bigger by tying 2 or 3 more knots in the same spot so that doesn't go through. So we're going to do a running stitch. You're going to go up from underneath and sew over, go under, and over, all the way until you get to the very end. Once you've reached the end, we're going to trim off the extra and make sure you leave enough room because you have to tie a knot in the back to make sure that your stitches don't come apart. So you're going to tie it just like you would if you were tying your shoes, 2 or 3 times. I'm going to go ahead and pick another piece that has holes and I'm going to sew that on. So I'm going to match up the holes for her tail and begin to sew this piece on. What helps me is to look at the pictures on the instructions to pick what piece goes next. So now I'm going to sew the horn onto the top of the unicorn's head. So I'm going to just do the same thing that I did before. Thread my needle, tie a knot, and do a running stitch. Make sure that you're finishing off in the back so that you can tie your knots. All the knots are going to go in the back so that when we put the unicorn together or whatever piece you're sewing, that you're not seeing any of the strands. Now I'm going to sew the earpiece on. And I just want to note that you can use any color embroidery floss when you're sewing. You can match up the color, so I could use white so that it matches, or you can use a different color and make it unique. This is your sewing project, so it is really up to you. There may be pieces in your kit that don't have holes in them. I'm going to show you what to do with these pieces next week, so just hold on to them. This week, I will be back next week and show you how to finish off this project and what to do with those pieces that don't have holes.